Hi Gemini, welcome to your love reading for the year 2020. This deck is going to represent the beginning of the year, middle of the year, and the end of the year. Remember, this is a general reading. If you would like your own private 2020 love reading, I'll put a link down below to my website, channeledguidance.com. Let's go ahead and begin. Okay, Gemini, let's go ahead and see what is coming up in your love life at the beginning of 2020. The first card you have is the Six of Swords. The Moon. Three of Swords. Six of Wands. Nine of Wands. Three of Pentacles. Page of Swords. King of Pentacles. And the Four of Swords. Okay, so I am approaching this reading from a slightly different angle because this is not a monthly reading. This is a reading for the beginning of 2020. So let's go ahead and see what you have going on here. Remember, this is the beginning of the new year. I mean, you definitely have some things going on here. I feel like you're moving on from something difficult. You're actually starting the reading with the Six of Swords. So this is you kind of getting away from a very maybe negative relationship, or maybe just a really difficult time in a relationship or in a marriage. The Six of Swords is moving away to something healthier. You also have the Moon here. The Moon does represent the sign of Pisces, but it also represents perhaps a very emotional time for Gemini. The Moon represents perhaps secrets coming to light. It represents fears. It represents just a very kind of emotional time for you. With the Moon, looks are deceiving, and it can literally mean for some of you that you're being lied to, or maybe you're lying to yourself. Especially with something like this, right next to it, you have the Three of Swords. So the Three of Swords can represent perhaps a breakup or a divorce. Some of you, maybe you're coming into the new year feeling brokenhearted. Maybe a relationship has ended in 2019. You are moving in a much healthier direction. You have the Six of Swords here. But I do feel if there is a breakup or there's heartache over a relationship that maybe you feel is falling apart, you may want to look at this closer, because the Moon usually comes up when something is hidden. Looks are deceiving with the Moon here. Now you also have, for the beginning of the year, I mean, you have the Six of Wands, which does represent victory. So whatever it is that you're dealing with at the beginning of the year that's challenging you, you're able to get past these obstacles with the Six of Wands. And some of you, I mean, you've got the Nine of Wands here. The Nine of Wands does represent you protecting yourself, especially with something like the Moon and the Three of Swords here. So the beginning of the year is asking you to kind of protect your heart. If you feel like someone is lying to you, if you feel like someone is deceiving you, if you feel like someone is too good to be true at the beginning of the year, then protect yourself here. You also have the Three of Pentacles. I mean, to me, the Three of Pentacles represents teamwork. Two people working together, and it can be that maybe there's a relationship or there's a marriage that's falling apart, with the Three of Swords here, where you're working together to bring your relationship to a better place. And some of you may be worried with the Nine of Wands here that maybe this marriage or this relationship is not going to make it at the beginning of the year. You also have the Page of Swords. Sorry that my cards are all moving around here. You've got the Page of Swords. So this represents, kind of honesty, communication. There can definitely be maybe the truth coming out, maybe why somebody walked away from you with the Three of Swords, why somebody broke up with you. But we also have, we have the Moon, which represents deceit, but this represents the truth. So I feel like if somebody has lied to you, you could be hearing the truth at the beginning of 2020. Maybe you're hearing the truth of what really happened after a breakup, why somebody really left you. Maybe you're hearing that somebody still cares. The Page of Swords is, the truth coming out, especially with the Moon here. You also have the King of Pentacles. So for some of you, this could be with an earth sign, Taurus, Virgo, or Capricorn. Male or female, sun, moon, or rising. This can even be you if you have a moon or rising and an earth sign. So there is kind of honesty, communication, and truth around that person. We also have the Four of Swords. So, the Four of Swords does represent healing. Perhaps, I just realized you've got the Three of Swords here and the Four of Swords down here with the Four of Pentacles in the middle right here. So at the beginning of the year, Some of you could be looking at a breakup. Maybe you've come into the year and a relationship has fallen apart, or marriage. There is healing here, but keep in mind the Four of Swords does usually represent a timeout. Somebody needs some space to figure things out. Somebody needs some space to think. You've got the Three of Pentacles between these two cards. And remember, this represents working together. It can't be you doing all the work. It has to be you and the person that you love. Okay, let's go ahead and see what else comes up for you. You've got the Two of Swords. So now you have the Two of Swords, the Three of Swords, and the Four of Swords. The Five of Wands. And the Strength card. So, I mean, I feel like you're dealing with something tough at the beginning of the year. I mean, I feel like all the signs are. I mean, this one has been nice compared to some of the others that I've done. I mean, you've got some type of really difficult decision here. You've got the Two of Swords. Perhaps there's an action, a decision that you need to make that you really don't want to make. You're struggling with this decision. And then I see that again right here with the Five of Wands. The Five of Wands is perhaps you fighting yourself. It could also be that there's a difficult decision to make around a relationship or a marriage where there's a lot of fighting, a lot of arguing, a lot of bickering. And you're being told to be strong. You've got the Strength card. Be brave. Perhaps some of you want to end a relationship because you actually start with the reading with the Six of Swords, moving on to something healthier. The Strength card saying have the courage to make that decision that you want to make at the beginning of the year. That decision could be perhaps if you're single to be in a new relationship with someone, but I feel like you're struggling with a difficult decision. Some of you could be ending a relationship. Again, it's a general reading, so it's hard to say. I feel like you're coming into the year with, kind of painful energy. You're healing at the beginning of the year, but this comes with some type of decision, complicated decision where, you may be fighting yourself. Maybe you don't want to make this decision, but with the Two of Swords, if you don't make the decision, then you're actually stuck. Okay, let's go ahead and look at the middle of the year. Okay, Gemini, let's go ahead and see what is coming up for you at the middle of 2020. You've got the Six of Pentacles, Four of Wands, Five of Cups, Death, the Devil, the Magician, Four of Cups, King of Wands, and the Five of Swords. Okay, so this is what you have for the middle of 2020. I mean, I definitely feel, again, that you have to be careful what you're creating. Because you actually have, look at this middle row right here. You've got Death, the Devil, and the Magician. So you have to be really careful what you're thinking about, what you're focusing on. Because you can either create a lot of happiness for yourself. You have the Four of Wands here, which does represent stability, commitment, a long-term relationship. Maybe you finding the person you're going to spend the rest of your life with. Or maybe you're working things out with someone and this is the person you're going to spend the rest of your life with. You're manifesting something in the middle of the year. You've got the Magician, which means that you're making something happen. You're creating, you're focusing on something and you're going to make it happen. The thing is you've got the Devil right next to it. The Devil can represent the sign of Capricorn, but it can represent perhaps a negative situation, an unhealthy relationship, because I do see unhappiness here. You actually have the Four. Look at this. You've got the Four of Cups here and the Five of Cups here. For some of you, this can be that maybe you're unhappy in your current situation. Maybe you're unhappy being single. There's a chance for you to change that as far as, how are you thinking? What are you thinking when it comes to love? There's a chance for you to be in a committed relationship. Maybe you're unhappy in a current relationship or marriage. There is a chance here for you to manifest something different. But I do feel like there's a lot of, kind of negativity here for the sign of Gemini. Again, maybe you become pessimistic about where your relationship is going or your marriage. You do have Death, and I do feel strongly that for some of you, not everyone, it could be that you're kind of deciding to kind of move down a different path. The Death card does represent an ending, a dramatic ending, and then a new beginning, a huge transformation. Some of you could be cutting ties with someone that you're no longer happy with. You've got the Four and the Five of Cups. There is unhappiness for the sign of Gemini in the middle of 2020, but you also have a chance for a new beginning, a huge transformation. Six of Pentacles, where you're actually getting the relationship, the love, that you truly deserve. Because again, 4 and 5 of Cups, that is a lot of unhappiness. And usually with the 5 of Cups, you know, this is a card of dwelling on your unhappiness. Tears, sadness, disappointment. Maybe you're disappointed in a relationship or in a marriage that didn't turn out to be what you wanted it to be. It can be with a fire sign. You've got the King of Wands. So Aries, Leo, or Sagittarius. It can also be you if you have a moon, a rising, and a fire sign. Now you also have here the 5 of Swords. So the 5 of Swords is cautioning you to be careful in the middle of the year around decisions. I feel like this could be a decision whether to stay or go. Again, it's a general reading, but generally the 5 of Swords represents very bad decisions. There's no way to sugarcoat it. Very bad decisions that will come back to haunt you. It also represents sabotage. So I feel like you're unhappy. The sign of Gemini, you're dealing with something that's making you unhappy, miserable. There is negative energy around your love life in the middle of 2020, but you can manifest something totally different here. Just be careful what you're focusing on. Okay, let's go ahead and get a few more cards. Let's see what else comes up for you. You've got the 10 of Pentacles, the Strength card, and the 4 of Swords. So you've got quite a few 4s here. I mean, you've got the 4 of Swords, the 4 of Wands, the 4 of Cups. The 4s, to me, they represent stability and a firm foundation. So I feel like any relationship where the foundation is not strong, and maybe you've come into the year struggling with this relationship because it has so many ups and downs. It doesn't have a strong foundation. This could crumble. This could really, you know, all the negativity could come to the surface. You could, you know, things could be revealed. I mean, go back to the first spread where you had the Page of Swords and the Moon. Now, I mean, I do see a very happy relationship here. Just like the 4 of Wands, the 4 of Pentacles represents commitment and stability. For some of you, this can be with the sign of Leo. You've got the Strength card here. Also forgot to mention, you've got Death, which represents Scorpio. But the Strength card is telling you there is happiness for the sign of Gemini. But you're going to have to be really brave and strong, and you're going to have to watch your ego. It could be that some of you are getting impatient in a relationship here with the Strength card and the Devil. Maybe you're letting somebody push your buttons in a way where you're kind of losing your temper. Maybe you're tired of waiting for someone. You've got the 4 of Swords where somebody needs a timeout. Somebody needs time to think. Because you've got the 4 and the 5 of Swords in this reading. So this is, you know, somebody needs to take a step back from a relationship. Somebody needs time to heal. Again, I feel like you don't want to make a bad decision here as far as maybe continuing a relationship where you're miserable. You're being told here, just be brave, be strong. As far as, you know, a relationship that has a lot of unhappiness around it. Again, 4 and 5 of Cups with the Devil. And I feel like for those of you where you're in this relationship right now, I'm recording this reading in November 2019. Some of you could be deciding to end this relationship so that you can receive the love that you truly deserve, the 6 of Pentacles. Okay, let's go ahead and move on to the end of the year. Okay, Gemini, let's go ahead and see what is coming up for you at the end of 2020. You've got the Tower, Knight of Wands, 4 of Wands, 6 of Wands, Page of Cups, Queen of Pentacles, Six of Cups, Knight of Swords, and 3 of Cups. Okay, so, I mean, what we have here, you've got 2 knights. You've got Knight of Wands here, and then you've got the Knight of Swords here, all lined up with the Page of Cups. So for those who are single, there can be kind of perhaps a new relationship coming at the end of the year. The Page of Cups can represent a new relationship or rekindling an old relationship. You've got 2 knights, again, just to put it here so you can see what I'm talking about. There is movement. The knights represent change in movement. There is movement around your love life, or there could be kind of a rekindling of an old relationship. I feel like this is a surprise for you. You've got the Tower. Things changing very suddenly. It could be that maybe you came into the year with no options. Maybe you were single. There is a lot of activity, a lot of movement around your love life at the end of the year. The Tower represents something very unexpected. Because you've got the Four of Wands over here, this does represent marriage, commitment, or a live-in relationship. It could be that, you know, very unexpectedly, everything changes for you at the end of the year. You've got the Knight of Wands, which does represent someone who's very persistent. And someone who's not going to give up. Someone who's not going to stop until they get what they want. Some of you, this can be maybe finding the person that you want to spend the rest of your life with, those who are single. But it can be you maybe refusing to give up on a relationship or a marriage. I feel like your courage, remember you had the Strength card in the middle of the year. Your courage and your patience is paying off. You also have the Six of Wands here, which does represent victory. You're able to get past the obstacles that have been blocking you. You did have kind of a difficult spread in the middle of 2020. So maybe you could be dealing with an earth sign. You've got the Queen of Pentacles, Taurus, Virgo, or Capricorn, male or female, sun, moon, or rising. It can even be you if you have a moon or rising and an earth sign. You also have the past here. You've got the Six of Cups, which represents someone from the past, memories from the past, an attachment to the past. And you have this next to the Knight of Swords. It's like, you know, there is movement. There is something that comes in very suddenly regarding the past. So some of you could be hearing from an ex at the end of the year. I feel like if there is some type of, you know, ex that comes back into your life, you've been wanting this. You have the Three of Cups, joy, celebration. You're happy that you are connecting with this person again. Some of you could be healing the past, but I do feel because of the combination, Six of Cups, Knight of Swords, and Three of Cups, that, you know, something changes in your love life at the end of the year. As far as somebody from the past returning, and you're over the moon with the Three of Cups. You're extremely happy. And again, with the Tower and the Knight of Swords, I feel like there are a lot of surprises for the sign of Gemini at the end of 2020. Okay, let's get a few more. Let's see what else is coming up for you. You got the Four of Pentacles, Three of Swords, and the Five of Swords. So I think, didn't you just have the Five of Swords in the middle of the year? I feel like a lot of happiness awaits you, but again, it's going to depend on you and what you're doing, because I know you just had the Magician in the middle of 2020. So I mean, for the sign of Gemini, you're being told that you're completely in control of your love life. What are you going to make of it? That's going to depend entirely on you. I feel like if you're choosing to hold on to the way things are, or maybe the way that you want things to be, then you're not going to be happy with the outcome. You have to be open. The Four of Pentacles is someone who's refusing to change, someone who's refusing to budge, someone who wants to stay in their safe place. This comes with heartache. You've got the Three of Swords. Heartache. This could even lead to a breakup. You also have the Five of Swords, which could be, I mean, again, I just told you, this represents sabotage, very bad decisions. So I feel like the sign of Gemini, you have to be careful in the middle of the year, because there is like so much happiness and kind of surprises waiting for you here at the end of the year. But if you're refusing, if you're not open-minded about how all of this is going to happen, then the year is going to end in heartache. You could be really disappointed, and this could all be because of a very poor decision that you're making. It can be that maybe, you know, someone from the past comes back, and maybe you're not open to talking to them. You don't want to forgive them. It could be for some of you, because again, it's a general reading, but it's like there's a decision here where you have to be careful. Some of you could decide to take an ex back, and really you should be focusing on somebody new who is coming in, you know, offering you a relationship. The end of the year does promise commitment, but again, you had the Magician in the middle of 2020, so I feel like there is a decision that you have to make, where what happens here is going to depend entirely on you. If you're stubborn, if you're refusing to maybe accept kind of a different ending, maybe a different relationship, then this leads to heartache here. Remember, pay attention to the decisions that you're making at the end of 2020. Okay, Gemini, this has been your love reading for the year 2020. Hope you enjoyed it, and I'll speak to you again soon.